What's up, everyone? We're back. Latest edition of the GASO cast. I'm your host, Michael Timmons, with Lyndon and Blue. Fellas, it's it's rankings day for our team rankings. How are y'all feeling about that? We had a long discussion over the last couple of weeks, traveling city to city, seeing what's out there, and doing our best to give the state of Texas something just to look at. You don't have to definitely necessarily agree with it, but just something to look at. How are y'all feeling before we drop these things?
I mean, for
I'm
me, yeah. Go ahead, Blue. Go ahead, Blue.
well, I was just gonna say, just it feels good to kind of see a little bit of what we've been working toward since TABC back in June, September with all the GASO Fall Tour. Going from San Antonio, Houston, twice in DFW to compile this list to kind of feel comfortable where we are. I think obviously there's still some disagreements along the way, which makes it fun because we have different perspectives. But I'm feeling really good about where we're at and what we did, and I'm ready to see what the rest of the state thinks.
Yeah, and for me, there's never going to be a right answer with preseason rankings, especially when you're combining the opinions of the three of us plus Tim Littlefield. Can how we see the state, how we see these programs, but it's throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks, seeing who deserves to be in the top 10, who deserves that number one ranking early on in the season, who we missed out on, didn't make the list when we dropped these, um, who immediately, like in the first ranking update, is in and, in a healthy spot in these rankings because, you never can tell how the season's going to go. You never can tell, we see a lot of basketball. We can't see every bit of it. But I'm just excited because every time we drop these rankings, it means the season is just right around the corner. And I'm looking forward to getting out there and getting back in the gym.
Absolutely. We're going to be sleeping on some people, for sure. We're going to get those questions. Who's doing these? They're us. Luckily, you have guys right in front of you that are telling you we're the ones doing these. So we're not hiding behind a brand or a platform. No, it's us. It's us. We do our best. At the end of the day, we always say, go win all your games and your ranking will reflect what it needs to reflect. So before we get into that, some quick housekeeping. Like we talked about, the fall tour is over. One of our favorite things we do in the fall. While we're still on fumes from a long summer, we like to get out to the city. We like to see all the different talent across Texas and see what this high school season is going to look like, and shape up. And that was amazing. G1 series is cooking. I'm up to like, I think 60 or 70 teams. Blue, is that committed
Yeah,
teams?
it's
We're on
it's
the,
past 70 teams, and what we're looking at is about 23 spots left.
okay.
So um, yeah, so it's kind of it's rolling. We'll have everything ready to hit social media next week.
Um,
Nice.
team rankings, like we talked about, are coming out today. And then next week, we have our updated player rankings of the 2026, 2027
Friday.
rankings. Oh, this Friday?
Friday's 2026 is so for
Okay.
that senior class, they're getting their rankings refreshed for the top 160 prospects in the senior class in Texas.
And people ask all the time, they'll come up and be like, oh, when are y'all dropping y'all's 28s? And we always wait till after they're done with their sophomore season. That's just the way gas. So we don't want to jump the gun. We want to watch how prospects evolve and develop over time. And we've just never felt like it's fair to rank a kid when he pops into high school and still trying to figure this thing out. So we take our time with those 2028s. We're still evaluating. They're still in our scouting service. But we get to, when it's time to rank, get a real good idea of what that prospect is at that time. So 28s will come out after the season, I think in March or April, I'm guessing. Does that make sense? Right, Lyndon? Around there?
Yeah, we'll normally be about February. Whenever the regular season ends, as we
Okay.
turn the page to the playoffs, we'll put those out.
All right, cool. So yeah, we have a lot of people. I'm looking at the numbers. A lot of people are excited for this episode. But before we get to that, we finished off our last stop with our prep and JUCO showcase. So let's just open up the prep showcase notebook real quick. It's funny. I see a lot of viewers right now, so I almost want to talk through this as fast as we can to get to what everybody really wants. But I would be remiss to ignore our prep showcase this weekend at Dunk if it was loaded. So for the first segment, new threads, new energy. Who's a prospect who made a change to a new school that shined? Blue, I'll start with you.
Yeah, from Houston, out of Houston, Xavier Academy has Jakendrick Clevenger. He was over at Kingwood Park a year ago, so he comes in here for Xavier with a lot of speed and quickness. I mean, against Taka, he scored 15 points, had double-digit assists. So when you can get a floor leader that understands how to set up his teammates, get them open shots, create that space. That's going to play. That's going to play straight into a bunch of W's, a bunch of wins, because with good point guards, someone especially that is smart and can get his teammates open, it's going to it's going to lend itself to easy buckets, and that's what he was doing. During our weekend, he was able to score. He was able to dish the ball. He's playing some defense. He would get the ball out, push it in transition. So he's always looking. It looked like to me he was always looking for what was next. He was trying to stay ahead of the pace, stay ahead of the game in terms of, I'm going to do this while the defense is thinking I'm going to do that.
Absolutely. Lyndon, I like this name.
Yeah, David Ballarain was with Hallsville last season. Now he's at Dynamic Prep, and stress tested all of the rims on the Green One in that final game. Had one of the most impressive moments of the weekend where Aiden Chronister, the 4-star Missouri commit from the new school, who was really impressive in his own right, coming in from Arkansas, decides to get downhill. He's going to try to punch one, and David goes up and just with his left hand meets him at the rim and basically puts the ball in his pocket. Just catches it out of the air. One of the most impressive blocks I've seen in a long time. But offensively, showing off what he can do as a finisher, especially as a power guy inside with a lot of off 2 feet with 2 hands finishes over the top. David had a really good weekend, but a lot of those kids on that dynamic squad did as well.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that block was just as good on good as you can get on both sides. Credit Aiden to go try David, and credit David for being like, no, it's different over here. And getting one of the cleanest blocks we've seen. For me, Caleb Richard of high school. Interesting that you come off a state championship at Mansfield Summit and transfer, but I think he's better for it with that coach that we know that Coach Pritchett and them have over at Summit to get things done. He just looks like one of those early 2026 seniors that's no nonsense. Shooting it at a high clip, plays hard, plays athletic. And then you go to an high school team where we talked about it off camera. They just, every game, it can be somebody different. There's just like, it just feels like a mature ball club over there that can beat you in so many different ways. And Caleb's just playing with so much confidence right now. And I think he's one of those guys that when we talk about 2026 rankings dropping this Friday, he'll have benefited from a great season last year and a great fall and summer. So those are some 3 guys and new threads with new energy that we saw this weekend that looked really good. Moving forward, programs with the pop. Who's a school that had loaded prospects this weekend, Blue, that really stood out?
I can always butcher names, so just jump on in here, Lyndon, with the twins, Gallagher and Gavin
Placide.
Placide. So you start with them as the bigs. You got Xavier Young, who's one of the best, most talented players in the 2028 class. These 3 can just get up and down the court. They're going to cause havoc inside the middle of the paint. They're great at rim protecting. They can get out and run and score in transition. They'll play with their back to the basket. They'll step out and knock down the short range jumpers. But then this team really hasn't even hit its stride yet with the addition of Caden Johnson coming in and Josiah Jones. That's expected to arrive any day now. And so this team is going through some transition, but you can see that the prospects on the court here, and with the addition of these 2 others are coming in, this is a lot of star power.
Yeah, I'll hop in here with Leadership Prep National. Basically, it's Pro Skills EYBL minus newly Duke commit Bryson Howard. But you have 2 guys that kind of lead the show here in Aeneas Alexander and Lindell Buckingham. Aeneas just committed to North Texas. You have Buckingham going to Jacksonville. So they just play this brand of basketball that, I mean, is just, they know how to win. They know how to compete. I think Pro Skills went to the Elite 8 in the EYBL, which is no easy task if you look at history and how that thing goes. But then looking over, Mike Gibbs really stood out across the last couple of weeks for this team, bringing him another dynamic inside presence. But it's just one of these teams. Coach Campbell does a really good job with them and gets the most out of them. And they're always just one of my favorite teams in this prep situation to continue to watch. So they stood out this weekend. Lyndon finishes off. I like this one.
Yeah, talk a storm in the first game out the gate on Friday, and their Twitter account called them the Big 3, and that about describes it because they've got three dudes who can really get after other teams and really fill it up. Tyson Hurd was at his shot making best. Braden Jones was all over the place, not just as a scorer in transition, but coming off stuff, hitting his shots off the dribble. And then Austin Centers offers a little bit of everything, can hit shots, but also is just a bull in a china shop getting to the rim. Very productive player. And all three of those guys, I think they combined for something like 75 points or something in that game. So really impressive outing on their behalf, and really, that's a fun team to evaluate. Even though all three of those guys have made their college decisions already at this point.
Absolutely. And then our final segment for the prep school side of things, he makes them a contender. Who's a prospect who will help their team make some noise this year? I'll start with Fernando uh, Camareno. Is that how you say it, Lyndon?
Camareno.
Camareno. Okay. Well, you might be wrong. I might be right.
No,
Of New
you're right.
Wave. Alongside Malik Parrish, who's a great versatile inside force, and Jack Sharam, who's one of the best shooters in the state, you have Fernando with a chance here to be the lead guard that can make a lot of things happen. With great shooting around, you're going to be able to space the floor. We saw him this past summer with Houston Raptors do his thing. He's just very great in transition, strong body, can get downhill, pass people with his frame. He was just one of those guys that when I like New Wave's makeup, and I think Fernando has a really good chance to make a big splash this year for that program. Lyndon, I like this name for you, I almost picked him as well.
Yeah, Jadarian Williams with Houston EOP could have easily been a new Threads guy. Was a key part of that Houston Bel Air State runner-ups team last season in Big 6A. But his ability to just kind of get wherever he wants to on the court, so smooth. He feels like he can never speed him up. Can hit shots, and with the length that they have in the front court, it's a nice pairing to see Jadarian kind of get to the paint and create for his teammates. Whether that's kicking it out or finding the big on the dump down spot and letting him have a dunk.
Blue finishes off.
Yeah, Brian Stewart, 8 threes against, I believe it was Ashton Black Prep, and he was looking to talk about spacing, Michael, and he benefits a lot from Lucas Clark being able to penetrate and kick out. But Brian was on fire, hitting those 8 threes coming from all different directions, and when you look at his length and his ability to still put it on the floor when he needs to, he plays with some pop, he has some athleticism there, long rangey guard. And so he helps those lines, like you said, spread the floor, being able to make those 3-pointers, and he is more versatile than that. But when you have it going, you just keep shooting them.
Awesome. Like we said, that was big time this past weekend. Blue, you and Laren, who's one of our JUCO correspondents, will be doing content on the JUCO side of things. That was also loaded. We saw number 1 ranked Trinity Valley versus Odessa. You can find that game recap on TechSoups TV's YouTube channel. And it was everything. I mean, there's just so much talent. I think JUCO continues to be slept on for sure. People
Yep.
at this stage and age are like, oh, I'm just going to go play JUCO. And you better be really sure about that because I mean, we saw rosters that had 15 to 20 kids on the bench. Like you got to go out there and really like want it and be a dog to play JUCO basketball. So it was good when we had the prep school teams watch this past weekend. They got to see it live and in action before they played. It was just a great mix of just two different types of style of basketball and two different levels coming together under one roof, and it was huge. So shout out to everybody that made that happen this weekend. So here we go, fellas. Our rankings reveal. So what we're gonna do, I'm going to list the top 5 in 6A with no discussion. Blue, you're going to list the top 5 in 5A, no discussion. And Lyndon, you're going to do 4A and with no discussion. We're just going to start there. Once we finish that, Lyndon, I'm going to give you the go ahead to go ahead and post the full rankings across our social media platforms. The reason I'm making all of us do this is because I don't want to announce all these because if somebody hates on and they're going to clip me up and be like, oh, Michael Timmons was the one. Yeah, so we're all going to take a
Wrong.
little bit of heat here.
Wrong.
Wrong. So without further ado, at 6A, the number 5 team in 6A is Little Elm. Number 4, it's funny because we want to discuss a little bit. So it's just like,
Yeah.
okay, number 4 in 6A, North Crowley. Number 3 in 6A, Katy Seven Lakes. Number 2 in 6A, San Antonio Brennan. And number 1 in 6A, Humble Atascocita. I will say this: we had a lot of discussions in the rankings meeting for that. Um,
Yep.
but that's your top five for 6A. Like I said, after we finish our top fives of all three classifications, Lyndon's gonna press the go ahead. Uh, but as we do that, let's move on to 5A Blue, just the same way I did it.
God, I wish there was a little bit of theme music in the background or something. Or should I go with my announcer voice? At number 5, Frisco, Panther Creek. Number 4, Fort Bend, Crawford. Number 3, Lubbock, Estacado. As I'm doing 4A.
You're doing ceramic.
All right,
Close. Just
Blue.
keep it going.
No,
Keep it going.
do 4A and do it
Yeah,
efficiently.
yeah, yeah, 4A. So number 5, Frisco, Panther Creek. 4, Fort Bend, Crawford. 3, Lubbock, Estacado. 2, Dallas, Kimball. Number 1, Dallas, Carter.
All right.
That was fun.
Yeah. Good job once you figured out what class you're talking about.
Honestly, Lyndon, we're saving 5A and we're doing 3A, 2A, 1A and private school and prep school rankings. So you're about to see those all released within the next minute or two. But just for the sake of us dropping top five, 5A might be the one that was the hardest to do. So
Yes, it was.
I'll let you
Yeah.
go and take over this one. Have five.
Right. Yeah. So at number 5, ranked team in 5A, we have Lufkin. At number 4, Beaumont United. Number 3 is Birdville. Number 2 is Beaumont Westbrook. And the number 1 team in Class 5A, Frisco Heritage.
That was a fun discussion yesterday in the rankings meeting for sure.
Yes.
So, Lyndon, what I'll do now, as we have our viewers watching, go ahead and send these out. How about let's just press live across social media. So, if you're watching, Lyndon's already had them saved in a draft, so you'll see them on our X account and our Instagram account here pretty quickly. Once again, rankings are rankings. You can vibe with them or you can disagree. At the end of the day, all you got to do is just go win all your games, and you're going to be ranked where you want. Um, sure, we're sleeping on you, whatever you want to call it. We're numb to it. We're excited to do this. We like to watch a lot of basketball, and we like to be proved wrong. I want somebody, and we'll talk about this in a second. I want somebody unranked to come make some noise. I want somebody to come and make statements. So as Linda posts that, let's have some let's talk a little bit here. Last year we got a lot of good feedback on our agree or disagree segment. um so Lyndon, have you posted those? Are they live?
5A and 6A are, and Instagram, everything's up on Instagram.
Holy moly, here we go. We hope that y'all are able to watch in the background as you go search social media to
Yeah.
see if your team made it. But while y'all are looking at that, let's do a little agree or disagree rankings edition. Like we talked about, gets out of our comfort zone. See if we all um vibe or disagree. So I'll start first. Would you be shocked if someone outside the top five will win a state championship this year in 6A? Let's do 6A.
I'll jump in and say no. I will not be shocked at all. Mainly because of the divisional split, but I will go ahead and say that I would be shocked if a team that's not in our top 5 right now wins in 6A Division 1, because you have 4 out of those 5 who are basically automatic going to be big school. So between Atascocita, Seven Lakes, North Crowley, and San Antonio Brennan, like they're the top 4 in the state for a reason, because they those teams right now are the teams that on paper have the best chances of winning a state championship in my eyes.
Blue, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to say yeah. I mean, I would not be shocked because yes of the split. You're just a genius work there, Lyndon. When you when you view it from the big school, small school. I mean, well, if you go and look at where we have Allen positioned right now, they haven't figured it out yet. They know that they're a team that will build momentum, a team that will have some big wins along the way. They're not going to be any pushover. I mean, so you can take a team like that right away and just sit here and go, wow, this 6A is loaded that's why some of these teams are outside the top five, and so you just never know who's going to get hot and down the stretch of their regular season run to put them in position for the playoffs. And I think that's another thing here to consider is that, you know what, when you get to that first round of the playoffs, we've said it before, it's not just a gimme. I mean, you got to go in there, you got to work, you got to fight. So some of those matchups, some of those first round matchups are championship type rounds, and it just, you get battle tested.
And if you look at it, the reason I asked is because if you look at our top five we just released, and I hope everybody's seeing the top 25 now, but those 6A teams that made it to the Alamo Dome last year aren't in the top five. So I always talk about when we go through this process, once you figure out how to navigate your way to the Alamo Dome, you have a step up regardless of who you bring back or what you have going. So there's defending state champions on this list that aren't in the top five that are like, hey, we've made it before. We know how to get there now. Watch out for us. And with good reason. And those running ups as well. So I wouldn't be surprised, like you talked about, Lyndon, with that split. It can be very interesting. So,
Hmm.
Lyndon,
That
what's
also brings
your
up another discussion, though, Michael. We won't get into it, but from the point of view of Lyndon, who coached at the, was a head coach in high school. I mean, you have to take advantage of who's on your team at that particular year, because you never know when you're going to get back. You never know when you're going to have that lightning in the bottle type moment, type team.
Absolutely, Lyndon? Go ahead and ask yours and make my brain blow up.
Last weekend or last week's episode, um, hit the statistics about the Houston State Championships, but now I have a new target. And again, not an insult stat, but just looking at the tape last year, Region Four champions in 4A through 6A win a combined 0-6 against Region Three in the state semifinal games. So all six of the Region Three, Region Four winners came from Region Three. My question: agree or disagree? Do we see a Region Four team in the Alamo Dome this season, and will they even win one?
I'll hop in here and say yes. Looking at our 6A rankings, there's one, two, three, four teams in the top 15 out of Region 4. And I just feel like I like a lot about all of those teams. And this year, one of them is going to make the leap. And once again, you know how I am. No idea D1, D2. Don't know how
Yeah,
it works yet until you tell me who's playing where playoff bracket. But I like the makeup of those four teams for sure. And I think one of them is going to take the next step and get to the Alamo Dome this year.
Such a strange feeling when you have to kind of think back, like, oh yeah, the Region Four team, which Region Four team made it to the quote unquote semifinals of state that weren't in the Alamo Dome. So you got to really win that first big one to take that step to get to the Alamo Dome. And I think that there's a couple of teams in there that they have that chance. Especially in 6A, and so much of this is going to determine on the breakdown of big school, small school. Every year, I think that a team like San Antonio Wagner always has the talent. They have the toughness, the grittiness. They'll grind some wins out, and so you look at teams in that way of that have the makeup to really make a push. I mean, that eventually we can say yes every year, and eventually it's gonna happen. I
yeah.
mean, it has to. When was the last time? Was that the John Jay
So
2000?
So in big school, it was John Jay in 2002. The last time a Region Four team has won a state championship in basketball, San Antonio
Cole.
Cole won it, I believe, the year after COVID, 2020 or 2021, probably 2021.
Mm.
Um, but then before that was a state championship game won by Mumford that I was on the losing end of in as a junior in high school in 2014. So
Tough.
um,
I mean,
it's
looking at that region, if you want to say the big bad wolves in Houston at the D1 level are Katy, Seven Lakes, and Atascocita, and you have Brendan sitting right there. if you want to just take coin flip, cool, that's out of the way. But then if you're going to play small D2, you have Austin Westlake sitting right there, and you have a sneaky Harlan team as well that have two. Obviously, once again, we're talking preseason stuff, so there's going to be there's Region 4 people yelling at their screen, "What about us?" And that's what we love
Yeah.
about this, because you're going to get a chance to prove it here in a few weeks. But
Oh
you
yeah.
just have these programs that you just are you got. That's the beauty of this storytelling, like the navigating of the D1, the D2, the brackets, who has somewhat of an easier road, who's staring at one of the powerhouses, and they're like, oh man, we're gonna have to see them at some point. You don't know. But I just like the depth of talent of Region 4. And we always talk about after we leave San Antonio anytime, or that region, I mean, the talent keeps getting better and better. And the more we get the chance to talk about it, you see what we mean by seeing these schools and these rankings show themselves. So good question, but it's also funny. Like, you're gonna ask these questions. We're gonna do this every week, and what am I gonna
Yeah.
say? No. What are we gonna do here?
That's a
What are we
good
gonna do
point.
here?
Good point.
Blue, what's your agree or disagree?
In District 11, DeSoto makes the playoffs this year. You look at their guard play with Trey Young. They have Anthony Spencer. One key thing that kind of, they lost Caden Johnson. But when you look at this District 11, can DeSoto get to the playoffs?
I'll say this based off seeing the depth and the confidence they played with at our fall GASO. I made the comment that Showtime and DeSoto's back. I expect to see that Duncanville DeSoto game rock an atmosphere. And anytime DeSoto feels like they belong, then they're a very dangerous team. And I feel like once again, just like our rankings, that district's wide open as well. And I just feel like a confident and deep DeSoto team has a real shot to not only make the playoffs but make real noise, potentially like leaving that district winning it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of storylines just when you look at the 11-6A district because um, all of these squads, like we're in our rankings, all five teams basically that we're talking about as the contenders here. But there's so much more than that even, because you have Duncanville, the defending 6A D1 state champs. You have Lancaster, who was a top 10, top 5 team all of last year, who's looked the part in preseason. Mesquite Horn, nobody wants to play Mesquite Horn. They're a buzzsaw who is going to beat teams that have more talented guys, but they just play so hard and together. And then obviously Waxahachie, they do lose a key piece, but Michael Gatewood's been playing as well as anybody this fall, and they have guys with him that are capable of stepping up. And then we get to DeSoto. They got double dipped where they lost twice in 24 hours to miss the playoffs last year. I'm going to agree. I'm going to say they make the playoffs this year. Anthony Spencer has improved his motor, has improved his ability to impact the game from the forward spots. And with Trey Young, with Valric Halliburton, with some guys that are on the outside for them, I think they're just a little too talented to miss the playoffs this year.
All right. We got out of that unscathed again, fellas. Until next week, when we ask even deeper questions. Let's do some rapid
Hey,
fire.
and for our audience, we don't have time to think about this because this part of the segment we do before we go live, and so
Yeah.
it's a little tricky, and you
Yeah,
want to kind of peek down there and think about it, but you don't have time to think.
I'd
It's
even
a fun
read
little
I'd
segment.
even read Jaws until I read them live, to be honest.
Yeah.
I just didn't. So let's do some rapid fires, 6A, 5A, 4. Once again, if you're just joining us, our rankings from 6A all the way down to 1A to private school and prep school are all posted on Instagram and our X account. So appreciate y'all rocking with us. We have a lot of viewers on right now. Just yelling at us probably from wherever they're watching it from. But we
Yeah.
appreciate you watching. And once again, I'll keep saying this. Just win all your games in the rankings don't matter, I promise. You win all your
Mm-hmm.
games, you'll love exactly where you're ranked with the state
Hey, we see
championship
it
here.
every year, don't we? We see it every year. There's somebody that got Alamo Heights went on two incredible runs over the last 2 years. Like at one point, they were never. 2 years ago, they weren't ranked, and they went on a 19 game winning streak, 21 game winning streak. Those kind of things are going to happen. They help, and it makes. This is when you just crumble the paper and you throw it away, and you say, "Hey, you know what? Let's go play some basketball."
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I'll say this: rankings don't matter, and they'll matter if you're not ranked number one today. And in March, you're holding a state championship trophy, and me and Lyndon are on the court where we always are at the Alamo Dome, and you come up to us and say, "I told you so," then I'll say rankings matter. I promise I'll say it, they matter then. If y'all come up and say, "I told you so" from this episode, then they matter. But let's do some rapid fire. 6A, 5A, 4A. Just real quick, just a couple thoughts. Who's a contender? Blue, start.
Katy Seven Lakes. I mean, Atascocita is number one that's in their region, but what really separates from one to three sometimes not a whole lot. I mean, they've had to face each other in playoffs for many years and come head to head. And when you have Isaiah Santos and Jose Martins and Isaiah Price, I mean, you're going to win some games. You're going to make it very difficult, and that's why when you look at number one Atascocita, number three Katy Seven Lakes, it really just shrinks because rankings go out the door and those two teams collide and hit the court against each other.
Lyndon.
Yeah, let's go with North Crowley, the top ranked team from DFW in the Class 6A rankings. I mean, lost a thriller to Allen last year in the playoffs, but have that hunger, have a dynamic guard with Isaac Hayes, have length on the outside with Trey Hall. Like they just seem like the most complete team in 6A for the DFW schools right now. So I think they're a real contender, and it wouldn't surprise me to see them playing for a state championship this season.
Yeah, how about Little Elm? When you talk about at the end of the day in the playoffs, if you're trying to make a run, you got to have some guys that here's the ball, go figure it out. And that's Kensington Candler and Josh Weems. We've seen them do it time and time again. They continue to complement each other better and better. So when you're in tough playoff games where it's tough to get a bucket, you get to the fourth quarter with a chance. I like the ball in those two's hands. 5A, Blue, get us started again.
Red Oak, why can't this be the year that Chris Davis, the head coach there, really sinks his teeth into the state here? He's got KJ Bradford, Devin Kirk, AJ Burdine, and these guys can score in bunches. They can guard you 94 feet. They're going to cause some chaos on the court, and they're going to just race up and down the court with you. And they take a lot of their characters coming from Chris Davis, who was an outstanding college player and professional for many years. He can coach, and he has this team, I think, where he wants them.
Lyndon.
Yeah, let's go with Melissa. I mean, at some point, like the run is there to be made, is what I'm going to say. That part of the 5A Region 2 bracket is never easy with all the Friscos and the East Texas schools and all the talent that's out there in that north of DFW area. But Melissa has the tools. They have the dude with Austin Gooseby. They have a very impressive new addition, Mustafa Muhammad. Trey Edwards continues to blow up. I mean, I just reposted several more offers he got in the last couple of days. Cohen LaCour gives them a point guard and a shot maker. Like this is a team that has the pieces. Can they be put together? Can they win some of these grinded out type? How it gets in the playoffs where every possession matters. It's interesting to see, but they come in the top 10 because they're going to be one of the most talented teams in Texas, regardless of class. It's can we see it in the playoffs?
Yeah, for me,
Lyndon,
Stan.
would it happen
Oh,
again? I'm sorry. Would it happen again that Melissa would have to play Lufkin in the first round like they did last year? Is that pretty much a
If they both
set?
if they both win their districts, they would avoid it. But who there's a very real chance that that's a game that happens if one of them comes in as the 2 seed in that district.
that's a bloodbath. That's a
Yeah.
bloodbath. For me, San Antonio Wagner, once again, one of those Region 4 teams we mentioned earlier. But their makeup, they're so versatile. And the one thing that I'm excited about this team is that Trey Clark has an interior buddy in Cam Crenshaw that continues to rise as a 2028 there. And it allows to take less pressure off Trey Clark to be that interior. He can just go all over the place and play multiple roles and multiple all over the court. But then you have veteran leadership like Damon Ramirez. Tyler Jackson's one of those 2027 guards that is a spark plug for them. And you have Lance Johnson, who will be coming off injury soon, that gives them that 6'5", 6'6" presence. So they're able to have guards. They have interior presence. And then it's just San Antonio Wagner nastiness with Coach Clark and the way they do things. So just keep an eye on them. 4A and contender, Blue. I appreciate everybody watching so far. Like we talk about almost 400 live viewers right now. I'm excited for the season to start and hear what we have to say. So 4A contender, Blue.
Hey, come on, Davenport. Whenever you have a 6'8" interior player like Richard Groff, I mean uh, that's going to be huge for anybody, because not there's you just don't see that type of talent from top to bottom with the other team. So I mean, they can really make a push. You have Justin McKinney, who just is a wing that can go and get buckets. So I mean, both of these guys are 2027s. Is it this year that they can make a run? Are they still a year away? You know what? They're going to contend because they have a couple of big pieces that you need at the smaller classifications.
Linda.
Yeah, let's go with Frisco Panther Creek. Think back to last February, where they actually gave Dallas Kimball their closest game, as Kimball went on to win the 4AD1 state championship. And a lot of key pieces return. Rodney Wagner always puts up big numbers anytime we see him. It feels like, but they've got the depth around him. They've got some size on the inside that can make a difference at this level. So why not them? They clock in at number 5, but they're a team that a lot of people need to get their eyes on early in the season.
Yeah, for me, Kimball, and it's only for one reason. Coach Nick Smith, friend of the podcast, is going to see these rankings, and he's going to have something to say about them for sure. But at the end of the day, um, Kimball has the GPS engraved in their brain to get to the Alamo Dome. So until further notice, where all of a sudden you hit them with that Men in Black buzzer in their face and they forget, Kimball's always going to be relevant wherever they pop up on any ranking, any single day of the week. They just want to get into the dance, and they know how to navigate that dance. So Kimball always a contender for it. So Blue or Lyndon, I'm gonna let you nerd out real quick as the landscape goes from 5-4 of 6, 5, and 4 to just talk a little bit about the small school watch from 3A to 1A. What are some storylines that you're looking at?
Yeah, in Class 3A, our number one team, Palestine Westwood, and for good reason. If you've seen Kavian Bryant play at any point in the last 2 or 3 years, you'll get it, because now he's got a younger brother, Caden Bryant, with him to roll the balls out with. Can anything stop them? I mean, it seems to be. A lot of people have already tipped them to be the state champions. As Kavian weighs a football decision. I believe that's November 1st that he's going to be making that commitment. So that's the Class 3A thing to watch. In Class 2A, Lipan and Martins Mill played a great high-level state championship game in the 2A D2 level. Looks like another collision course. As both of them, have pedigree. That's the last 2 state champions, with Lipan winning 2 years ago, Martins Mill winning last season. It looks like we may get to see another installment in that this year with that in Class 2A. And then in 1A, Jayton's going for a three-peat, return their best 2 players off last season's team in a state championship game that was 30-2 at halftime. So I'm looking to see who can push them. I don't know if there's any teams in 1A out there that can, but right now they're the overwhelming favorite for that 1A Division II title, and then to see who can kind of fill the void. It feels like there's a little bit of a void in 1A D1 who can step up and be the state championship in that particular bracket.
So there you have it. Like I said, they're on social media now. They're out there. Like it or love it, you can never say we don't work over here. We're gonna be in your face every week talking about the high school season. It's content at the end of the day. If you want to go out and try to prove our rankings wrong, do your thing. But all we do is watch, and we do the best that we can here, and we're excited for it. I mean, we're all pumped up when the rankings drop. It just feels like it's officially season time here. Next week we'll be talking about our player rankings, and then we'll touch on our preseason prep and private school a little bit, the same way we did today. But we're almost 40 minutes in. We appreciate everybody stopping what they're doing today to rock with us. The season's here, and we can't wait for the next ranking drop after the preseason, once the ball gets tipped and you get to tell your own story. Right now we're telling your story for you, and you may hate it, you may love it, but guess what? When that first game starts, guess what? Anybody can tell their story, and that's the beauty of this whole thing. We appreciate y'all rocking with us and rocking with the brand as always. Let us get back to the player rankings now, and we'll see y'all next week with a lot more and more content. So we appreciate y'all. We'll see y'all soon. Later.